That's a great question. So if you were hurt by the negligence of another person, then you have a personal injury case almost every time. So just to explain, when I say hurt, I'm talking about what the law calls bodily injuries, so harm to your physical body. If you are in an accident, for example, and they just dented up your car, but you actually didn't get hurt, then no, you don't have a personal injury case. You need to have a bodily injury. And then if you suffered any loss because of that, and the loss could be in the form of medical expenses, almost always is, but it can also be in the form of pain and suffering, inconvenience, loss of enjoyment of life, all those different kinds of damages, permanent impairment, scarring. Those are all forms of bodily injury or symptoms of the bodily injury. And so as long as you have injury and fault. So let me explain fault. So fault would be, and I'm just using layman's terms here, because you have negligence, which means somebody hurt you on accident. That's the normal way of saying that. They didn't mean to. Then you have a higher form, which is called recklessness. So that means the person, they didn't mean to hurt you, but they were doing something that was reckless in the sense of they knew it should hurt someone. So think of driving 100 miles over the speed limit. That's always going to be reckless. Now, if they hurt you, they didn't mean to hurt you, but they did mean to go 100 miles over the speed limit or drive drunk or things like that. So, and then you have intentional harm. So intentional harm, this is an important distinction when you're talking to a personal injury attorney. Intentional harm is a personal injury, but there is no insurance coverage for an intentional harm, because an insurance company, they can't cover intentional acts. If they covered intentional acts, then people could just do things on purpose and their insurance company would pay for it. So it's not going to work. They will not cover intentional acts. And so while you might have a personal injury case against them, it's super hard to get money from someone if they don't have insurance coverage. So think of the kind of person who is harming other people on purpose usually don't have a big bank account, right? So think of the people who have really big bank accounts, they're usually not hurting people on purpose. And so the reason that's important is you could get $1 million verdict from a jury for somebody punching you in the face on purpose, but does that person have $1 million? No. Do they have $100? In my experience, the kind of people who punch someone else in the nose don't have that kind of money in the bank. It's just not how we in the United States operate. So it's really important to remember that if you're thinking of a personal injury case, it's usually going to be an accident, so it wasn't on purpose, and you want to have insurance available.